Hello, everybody. This is Pastor Mike, and with my good man here,
Nick over here.
and we are looking toward Sunday, January 10th, in the year 2016. This will be the second Sunday of the year, and it is technically called Baptism of Our Lord. It's a great Sunday, a lot of great stuff going on, and we're moving into that Epiphany season because everybody knows they had just had an epiphany, realizing it was 2016. Oh yeah.
Hashtag survive 2012.
We survived it for a little bit of time now.
It's true. I want to, when I have kids in the
no,
future.
it's why 2016. Is everybody's computer up to date?
Windows 10, no. I want, when I have my kids, to show them the movie 2012 and be like, I survived that.
2012, man, that was rough. Too many apocalypses, or apocalypse, or whatever it's called.
Apocalypses.
Apocalypses, just too many of them. Everybody's going to end. They just get tired of the world ending. We'll last for another 20 years now. Wait, no, world needs to end again. Ancient aliens, man. They got theories.
Aliens.
I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Sorry, one of my guilty pleasures is Ancient Aliens. That show just cracks me up.
All right, so you said you had stuff you wanted to talk about this.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for keeping us on track. Good job, Nick. So, I mean, usually we talk about the Gospels, but every now and then we also stumble across some other great readings here. And our first reading is from Isaiah 43. And if people have been around me before on visits, I like this passage. I read this passage a lot because I think it's a really good one. But now thus says the Lord, He who created you, O Jacob, He who formed you, O Israel, do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name, you are mine. When you pass through waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you. For I am the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. Now I like this passage, because I think it's got a really important message. I don't know, any reactions right off the bat before I do my thing?
I mean, it's saying that God's going to be your, kind of like your safety. He's going to always be there to protect you.
Yes. But the cool thing about it is that it's not saying that you won't have issues, but God will see you through them.
I mean, he's just like, you will still have issues, but man, if you're getting overflowed by a lake or getting put through fire, I got your back.
Well, yeah, when you pass through the waters, not like you will never have experiences with the waters, but when you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. You're still going to get wet, but you ain't going to drown. And that, I think, is key. Because I don't know about you, but there's always this general sense that we have that if you have enough faith, and I've been in certain situations where I've heard people say, well, if you just love Jesus enough, you wouldn't have problems. I've never gotten that concept. Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard anybody say that? Well, like
well, one of my friends and I we were Skyping. It was a few days ago.
Really?
And he was talking because we were just talking about my girlfriend because she's not religious, and we're just like how we don't we're still very religious, but we don't let it control how we are. And we were talking about with like the pro-choice, like that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. You're talking deep political discussion.
That throwing the wrench in the system kind of talk. Mm-hmm. And he said that he had a friend who was adopted, and his parents opted out the abortion to put him up for adoption. And so he's very, well, have the baby and let the child live, just put it up for adoption. And Tyler, he's just like, all right, I understand this. And but he's just like, well, what if you put the kid up for adoption, but it will kill the mom? And he's like, and it was just like this, and his friend's just like, let the mom die, let the kid have the life. The mom already had her run at it, and it was just kind of like that's kind of like the...
Well, and there's always the great moments where it's these extensive sticky wickets. Like, let's say they're right now on a border between two countries, and the mother might die. Why are we between border countries? Just to make it more complicated. Those sorts of things. Well, and those are sticky wickets. I mean, part of it's in the choice, too, of, the mom. Their mom, it gets complicated when you get into the emergency situation.
Yeah. And then one of my favorite responses is when I get questions like that is, I don't want to talk about hypotheticals.
Yep. The hypotheticals, people like playing the what if games.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just like, all right, like, no, like, I'm going to do a little Star Wars. There's no more rebels in this town. Mm-hmm. But, like, what if, Darth Vader's worker, he's just like, but what if Emperor Palpatine decides to be a fake rebel, but he's still with the rebels, and Darth Vader's like, what?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Darth Sidious? You really going that weird route? Oh, man. What if Darth Sidious liked puppies, though?
Yeah, like, they'll just throw... And you'll find, like, a good explanation, and then they'll throw another factor into it. They're like, what if he was missing a leg?
Well, and that is always then the struggle on some of those larger issues of, there's always these infinite variables. You know what I mean? You're always dealing with multiple and infinite variables and how they do together. And that's why one of the greatest things sometimes with our faith is that it's not this moralistic legal sense of, boom, 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 all these sorts of things. But again, this guide of grace where we understand the grace of God, and God is like, look, I am with you. I love you. I care for you. You're going to find yourself in some rough spots where there's no good options. Because one of the things I think sometimes the church doesn't talk about is the Kobayashi Maru. Now, here's another nerd reference for you. Have you ever heard of the Kobayashi Maru?
I've not.
This is jumping genres to Star Trek.
Okay.
Bear with me, people. I'm sorry if you're not nerd level like this, or if you're excessive nerd and I get it in some ways wrong. Please have grace. All right, I just got to get out there. But Star Trek, there was always there's one of the tests. It's like, let's say you want to be a captain or command track within a starship. There was a test called the Kobayashi Maru, which is named after a ship. And it's a simple thing. And the whole point of the test, I don't need to get into it, is that it's a no-win. Whatever happens, either the ship gets totally destroyed and like thousands of lives die, or the ship that you're commanding gets destroyed and thousands of lives die. And either way, there's a catastrophic event. They've built the simulation that there is no way. The only way that Kirk beat it at one point in time was rewriting the program. Mm-hmm. And I think in some other weird subsets of canon, some other people figured it out by using like wizards or Dumbledore. I don't know. But you know what I mean? But it's ultimately a no-win situation. And the whole point of it is, how do you handle a situation where there's really a no-win? What are your characters? What are your firm beliefs? What do you do amidst that? Because there are points in life where there are no wins.
Yeah.
What do you do? There are no good choices. You know what I mean? It's even the struggle of ethically, every action could be construed as evil, and then inaction is evil. You're going to do something wrong. What do you do?
Well, it's like if you have an animal that's sick, and it's kind of you can put it down, but then you're going to hate yourself for putting it down, or if you let it go naturally, then it's going to be in a lot of pain, and it's just kind of,
There's no win.
Yeah.
Sometimes in life there's no wins. You know what I mean? And that is one of the joys of grace and even the sorts of things, because sometimes in the larger political issues we get, there are men and women surrounded by laws and concepts and all these other sorts of things that find themselves in, this is a no-win. There is no decision I can make that is not going to cause catastrophe, pain, and some of these other sorts of things. And I think one of the great joys, and I think even this text even speaks to it as well, is that hopefully the church and the people of faith can speak grace into no-win and then support people in healing and recovery after passing through a no-win. Because you know what I mean? Waters are sometimes in this text, I think, the catastrophes of life. I often sometimes think of the fires as the no-wins. Mm-hmm. You're not going to win this. There's no way of coming out with a good solution. I mean, and sometimes you even get in charge of companies, too, where you have these CEOs. There's not a good decision they can make. Somebody's losing a job.
Yeah.
What do you do? And is there grace enough for no wins? And that is what I love about this text, is that God is present as we pass through these things. Parents struggle with things. My parents probably struggled with me. There were moments where hopefully they knew God was with them and with me as stupid stuff was going down.
And I'm struggling too, and I'm not even a parent, so it's...
Oh, wait till you get there, brother. But there is, hopefully you can hear that grace of that. It's not that I don't like God enough, or that God doesn't like me, that I'm having a problem. Because there is that almost that sub-theological sense of like, well, if you just prayed hard enough and Jesus loved you enough, you wouldn't have a problem.
God's not a cosmic vending machine of Skittles.
Preach it! Yes! Purple packs?
Now, if that was canon, that God was a cosmic vending machine, I'd be okay with the canon if it was just the purple packs of Skittles, because that's my child right there.
God is a cosmic vending machine. That's Kobayashi Maru, man. This is no win. I'm a diabetic. Nothing good comes out of it.
Now the thing would be is, it would be you would have a pack of Skittles, but you'd have to eat all the Skittles, but there could be M&Ms in there and like mixed in with the Skittles. But like you can't just have one at a time. Like you have to eat the whole pack at the same time.
You just gotta down the hatch.
Yeah, and it's did I tell you that someone at my work did that to me?
Did they put M&Ms in there?
There was a bag of what I thought was Skittles. It was in a sandwich bag, and I was like, "Oh man, someone brought Skittles," because you know you have like a food table. And I took a big old handful, and it wasn't just normal M&Ms in there. It was peanut butter M&Ms and Skittles.
Oh my goodness, that is like the worst flavor combination ever.
And I was like, yeah, Skittles, and I was like. And I texted my girlfriend. I'm like, I'm so upset right now. I'm crying. Like someone did it to me, and I took a picture of the bag, and she's like, no, and I was like, yes, and she's like, who? And I'm like, I don't know.
The level of evil here is Sith. No, oh yeah. Okay, sorry. I gotta do this tangent. Nothing's worse than because sometimes you can handle a flavor if you know if it's coming.
Yeah.
But the surprise flavor is the worst. Two of the worst flavor surprises I've ever seen in my life is that you got Jell-O, right? I was up in northern Wisconsin, and there was a subset of the population in that area that liked putting Miracle Whip as opposed to Cool Whip on Jell-O. So here I am thinking, oh sweet, here'll be this Cool Whip treat on top of, this fruity Jell-O flavor. Miracle Whip. It was like, I think I almost threw up on another human being, but it was and the worst was that I was in Scotland, and they have a soda there called Iron Brew.
Okay.
It's orange colored.
So you thought it would be orange flavored?
Yes, but it was bubblegum flavored.
What?
Yes. I mean, it's a level of evil I can't imagine. Bubblegum flavored soda. It was awful. And so there's that moment where if I knew I was having bubblegum flavored soda, take a sip, I can maybe deal with it. But it's like orange refreshing.
Yeah.
But
or when like you see a bottle of water without a tab on it, but like it's like not someone else's. You're like, oh man, I'm gonna have this water, and you open it and it's just like club soda, and you're just like, no.
Oh, yeah. Okay, back on track. Okay. Tangent. But and hopefully, even as you said, you're having some of that with people. But like when people I know are having surgeries, or when I'm visiting folks that are struggling with certain things. This is one of my favorite passages because it gives that gospel that good news in the sense of, and even alleviates sometimes those worries. Well, what if I was, what if? No, God hasn't abandoned you, because there's always that sense. There's even that great line that God doesn't give you anything you can handle. That's shenanigans. The world is broken, and you get stuff that you can't handle. Mm-hmm. The rub is that God sees us through those things. You know what I mean? And there's also the general sense of, why does it have to be that I have to handle it? That's the other thing too. Mm-hmm. Is there's that John Wayne mentality of I need to John Wayne my way through it. No, that's why God gives us community. That's why God is present. That's why there's incarnation. That we don't have to handle it alone. And that's some of the great news. You're not alone in these things. God is with you, and if God is with you, dang nabbit, God's people better be there as well. That's the dang nature of the church. Should be tagging along where God is going, which means places where there are rough waters and there are fires. Not the safety zones with all the yellow lines, but the rough spots in the world.
You know what they say, the journey's not about the destination.
It's about their awesome music.
It's about what's ever on the radio.
Yes! Just a small... Oh, Journey. Oh, Journey. How we love you. All right. No, but this is honestly probably one of my favorite texts. It's great. I was actually introduced to it by one of my bishop when I was in New York.
Okay.
And that was one of the great gifts that I think she gave to many people, was that just that awareness of this text. Because you got to be honest, there's a lot of stories in the Bible.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can miss one, but this is one that I dig for that reason. I don't know. Do you hear good news in it?
I feel it's good news because it's kind of it's kind of like how my mentality is on life, that today could be terrible, but tomorrow can't be worse. Like, it's always going to be a little bit, Mm-hmm. And if that day sucks, then I guess that wasn't the day. Maybe the next day will be, you got to look forward to tomorrow,
The sun rises again. Yeah. And I mean, yeah. And hopefully there is that even looking back. The footprints in the sand kind of does it in a little bit more chipper way than I sometimes think of it. But there's sense that, I carried you. Or, the sand people walk in single file, one of those sorts of things. But,
What were the sand people called? Was it Jawas?
No, Jawas are the little dude that steal droids.
Okay.
The sand people, Tusken Raiders.
Tusken Raiders,
Tusken Raiders. If you hadn't noticed by now, if you've listened before, we kind of got some nerdness going on here, but...
That's true. Here at Stumbling Towards the Eschaton, everyone is accepted.
Everyone. Especially with their awesome knowledge of random things. Are you a Whovian?
I'm not too much of one. My little brother is. And my grandma is.
I never knew Henry was a Whovian.
Henry watches it all the time.
That is awesome. Gold star for the brother. That dig. I appreciate it. I've never really gotten into it, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's really funny because I'll have my grandma explain it to me, and she's just like, there's 2 Doctor Whos, but one can die and one can't die. But if the one dies, then the one that can't die will split into another one, the one that can't die. And that's how we got the 12th Doctor. And I'm just like, okay,
Oh yeah, it's wild, man. Even if you read some of the stuff, it's like, what?
I need a Spark Notes while I'm watching the episode, like real-time Spark Notes.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. There's some of these mythos and these realities where it's like a full-time gig to understand what is going on.
Yeah.
Well, so there's 18 varieties of lightsaber crystals you can pick. I say, what?
The purple lightsaber that Mace Windu has.
Hey, only
No,
Samuel.
it is Mace Windu, right?
Only Samuel L. Jackson can pull off a purple saber.
I know. It's great. Really funny story. I don't know. I haven't seen the new Star Wars yet.
Neither have I.
But
no spoilers, man.
There's one guy that's on the title screen, and he's holding and he looks just like my friend Sean. Because my friend Sean took a month off of school because he was on vacation.
Wait, is it Finn? Was he holding a blue lightsaber?
I think it might have been. I don't remember it though.
It's obviously not the guy with the black mask of Kylo Ren.
No, it's not Kylo Ren.
Then it's probably Finn.
Because. And he came back, and we're like, are you in the new Star Wars movie? And we did the sign, and it was exactly the same.
Really?
Yeah.
That is awesome. Did you jump ship and join Star Wars?
Yeah. Did you dip out a man choir to be on a Star Wars movie?
Jump out a man choir. Man choir or lightsaber? I'll let you decide.
There we go. That'll be my question for this week. Men's choir or lightsabers?
Yeah. Well, that's a fun one. But even then, have you ever had a moment where you've passed through something and, it wasn't joyous, but you got through it and you didn't do it alone and God was with you in those sorts of things. I mean, even, it's one of those wild stories. I'm telling much, but, I left one seminary for a while and thought about not being a pastor. That was a rough gig of my existence. I passed through it, and by the grace of God, go I. I don't claim to have any infinite wisdom, but I think it was just the faithfulness of God and then God's people that got me where I was. Yeah. I mean, looking back on certain situations, it wasn't enjoyable. I wouldn't choose to do it, but I got through it, not by any strength of what I had, but yeah. And maybe that's a good thing to remember in the new year because, there probably will be problems coming down the way. I'm not going to lie to y'all and be like, everything's going to be fine in 2016.
I mean, it's 2016. Why 2016?
Windows 10 is going to take over the world. Skynet's becoming self-aware.
Cortana, no.
Self-aware. Well, yes, I'll have your datas.
I have a headset that I wear when I'm doing stuff on my computer, and do you know what Cortana is on Windows 10? It's kind of like
I refuse to download Windows 10.
It's kind of like Siri, but not sassy, and
I kind of like the sass from the Slayer, if you know what I'm talking about.
And and she'll just randomly listen in on you if you say anything that sounds like hey Cortana or listen Cortana, it'll pop up in the corner and then it will record what you're saying and then Google search it. Because you're going to be like, hey Cortana, tell me a funny joke. And then she'll tell you a joke. But and it's just like, hey Cortana, what's the weather for today? And then she'll tell you the weather.
That creeps me out, man.
But I was describing Windows 10 to Kenny, and I was just like, yeah, if you said like, hey Cortana, why do you always pop up when I say hey Cortana, and then it'll Google like
why you do that.
Yeah, it's just really scary when you say something that doesn't sound like hey Cortana, like if you're just like, I'm in the cantina, from like Star Wars, and it'll pop up, and then like it'll like hear my.
And it Google. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know what you mean. Cortana.
Yeah, it'll be like, should I look online for that for you? Like.
Cortana, quit it. You're overfunctioning.
Yeah.
Quit harassing me.
I do enjoy that Cortana can track my packages though, because you can because when you order something, it'll give you like the online code, and you could be like, hey Cortana, and you'd be like, here's this code, and then she'll track your package for you, so she'll give you like live updates.
See, I think I'm one of those nutsy folks, is that I am not upgrading to Windows 10. I'm worried one day somebody in like a Windows 10 shirt's going to show up and make me do it. But I can't stand it. I want to go back to Windows 98, brother.
MS-DOS. That's where it is.
Dude, there was nothing wrong with that.
MS-DOS is my favorite operating system.
Dude, I learned to program in BASIC on an Atari 800.
Oof.
Yeah. That's probably the height of my programming languages in the moment. BASIC. He can make a game where you ask a question. Oh, man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if you know, I don't know, were you into Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
That is not one of my spheres, no.
That one's pretty good. They just re-released the game for, like, the 20th anniversary, so I've been playing a little bit of that. That's what's
my nerd realms, I like Star Wars. I really enjoy that. I like Dune. I don't know if you
Dune?
Dune.
Is that the worms under... No, that's
the sand planet.
Yeah.
But there are gigantic worms. Dune is a fascinating one. I also enjoy Lord of the Rings. Yeah, if you're going to read like the Sumerian or whatever it's called, I never pronounce it well. Man.
Oh, by the way, about Star Wars, did you know Disney announced that the novels are not canon?
Yeah, I'm worried that, you know what I mean, somebody's going to burn down Disney World. That's the problem, man. Man, the whole canon's up and alternate universe. It's getting a bit too much. I'm going to stay kind of surface.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, my nerdness goes to Mad Max, Star Wars, little bit of Star Trek, not too into it, but Lord of the Rings, and then like anime, like that for just lack of better, like
What are the other spheres? Because everybody's got to have those little areas they dig. Even if it's like, quilting. I mean, that's, you know how it becomes like its own like separate world with phrases? Because when I've talked to sometimes quilting ladies, like it's a different world, man. That's why it's always funny when somebody rags on somebody. It's like, look, everybody's got their back. And then woodworkers, because I try to get into woodworking. That's its own world, man. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you got to make sure your kerfs are done in such a way and all these things. It's, you know what I mean? And then dudes like Nick Offerman turn out to be like these amazing things. Then you got like train people.
Yeah, train people.
What was it? Was it Rod Stewart, I guess, is like one of the biggest model train people in like the world.
Really?
Yes, like Rod Stewart is like this huge like train fanatic. Has this been our most tangential episode ever?
Probably, but I'm okay with that.
But we're running low on time. All right, well maybe for closing, brothers and sisters, we got two good questions, but here's a verse, and maybe that's the great gift of this episode. Isaiah 43, you know what I mean, verses 1 through 3 is a gift to you. It's a good passage, a good text. It's a reminder, it's good news. Is that life will not be perfect just because you're a Christian. If a pastor tells you that, they're full of it. I mean, if you want the prime example of it, what happened to 11 out of 12 apostles? They were straight up murdered. And they were faithful dudes. They loved the Lord. We're not promised that everything will be perfect. We're promised that God is with us. God will walk with us, and He will pass through it with us. And I think that's good news.
And another note to leave you guys off on is B flat. Thank you for listening to this video. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and comment on what we were just talking about.
Hey.
And if you enjoyed the video, you got to subscribe because that'll make me feel better. Thank you.
All right, let's end it. All right, blessings everybody, and keep stumbling.
See ya.